Hey guys, what's up? This is Damnation-n-Hellfire again, and this week I am joined by Vikes and Ross Crow, and my brother from down under, Toxic, has blessed us with his appearance this evening. Say hi, everybody.
Hello.
Hi, everybody.
Hello. There you go. You follow directions very well, Toxic. So I think there's a raid going on this week, right? Or today, something like that, some kind of raid.
That's what I heard. I've only hit a couple targets.
I think I've heard mentions of it, grumblings of it somewhere along the way. So let's get right into it. This is episode 11, October 12th. Steel Curtain is in progress. First, we'll start with bug fixes and tuning. They corrected issue preventing bounty prize redemptions if it would leave you with 0 bounty. So I personally didn't run across that, but cool. Yeah, anytime you fix something, that's good. Corrected dubs not paying out uranium. I know that lots of people were unhappy about that, so that is now fixed, and everybody should be getting their corrected amount of uranium. Corrected conquest yard getting stuck while repairing. I could see where that would definitely make a lot of people very unhappy. Along with the other one, you couldn't use tokens to speed up your conquest yard before, and now you can. And with 42 days, we need to spend every single freaking token on that thing that we can to get it out in any time to be useful for anything. They corrected a mega module weight calculation error. They corrected conquest yard failing to appear when stashed in the base planner. They corrected the problem with slow repairing PvE fleets during bounty. And they also corrected the getting locked up when using a fleet repair token on a slow repair in a fleet. And I'm not sure, but I myself, with them having corrected these issues in bounty, I have now seen them transfer over to the regular game. I'm having a lot of my repair times not updating as I'm watching them, and I have to go out of my base and back in to see the proper repair time, which can be kind of a pain in the tuchus when you're just sitting there waiting for something to repair, and then you look back at your screen and you're like, dude, my timer does not move at all. And then you're like, oh, apparently it was done repairing 10 minutes ago. So hopefully they can look into that and get that fixed. I don't know if it's because of a heavy load issue or if it's just something wrong. So they need to look at it. And they corrected rocket range boost calculating incorrectly with the hull's built-in buff. So good deal, good deal.
Now, on that one,
Sure.
On the rocket reload buff, now, I have a question. Was that
rocket range boost, not a reload buff?
okay? Well, rocket range boost calculating error. Now, does that mean that your icebreakers were wrong before, or what's that mean?
I'm totally honest with you. I have no idea. I've never really noticed that for icebreakers in particular, that the rocket ranges were off. So I really don't know. But apparently there was some hull out there that it was an issue with, and they have fixed it.
Okay.
That's the answer I can give you to that. Yeah, so we're in the middle of Caress of Steel. That's the current raid that we're having for the skirmish fleets. I didn't bother putting start times on because obviously it started in all the worlds at this point. Just like always at the start, they turned off relocation, sector threat, base part targets, titanium targets, daily campaigns, and your friend list is knocked down to 10. And of course, if you're somebody like Toxic, you don't have 10 friends anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's still empty. I've checked.
Yeah. Targets. We got the tier 7. It's limited to tier 6 hulls. Not a big fan of that, but we'll get into that later. We're going to have a little rant session at the end, so we'll cover that then. For the Fangtooth Depths, you'll be able to bring a tier 0 or 0 point something or a tier 1 for your flag, so you can use your gunboats, your corvettes, and that kind of stuff. That was a big concern when people first saw this, because they're like, well, if I don't have the Phantom, does that mean I can't do this encounter because I can't use any kind of Fang? So they fixed that, and that's a good thing. So now you can take your stuff in. Let's see. They're supposed to be very difficult targets with high payout of points, and specific Fangtooth and Hunter MK1 targets will be available in the campaign thing. And we will be going over these Tier 7 targets in more detail later and show you how even if you only have one hunter, you can indeed do the hunter campaign. So don't feel like you're totally locked out. So in Tier 6, you got 3 targets, 81, 83, 85. And recommended for those is Fangtooth and the Hunters. Tier 5, you have 3 targets, the 61, 63, and 65. And the recommended fleet for them is Tide Seekers. Tier 4, you got 1 target, 1 lonely little target, and that's a number 4. That's a level 45, and you can use Tiger Sharks to do that with. So that's definitely a good thing. They have the level 89 Blitz fleet, which is recommended for the Fangtooth or the Hunter. It will pay out 800,000 points, and you have a minimum blitz of 5 gold, and you can blitz it up to 10 times per target. For the level 69, recommended for ranked Tide Seekers, 125k points. And there is the hit down multiplier that applies to this. So if you're a really high level and hit down, you will not get that full 125,000 points. But then you can blitz it up to 10 times for 2 gold per blitz. You got your point payouts. You got for Fangtooth Depths, 4 million. This 4 million is split between 2 million as far as damage you actually deal to the target, and then you have a completion bonus for finishing the target of another 2 million. That's how you come up to the 4 million. Same with Hunter Bay. And then if you do them both, you can get a set bonus of 4 million points. So if you do all 3 of these targets, you end up netting around 12 million points, give or take a little bit. Actually, Toxic said he saw somebody today who got over 4 million points for doing one of these targets. He got like 4 million 14 points. Is that what you said? That's kind of weird.
I think that's what I saw, yeah.
Yeah. For the tier 6 target, you got the 81, which is 500,000, the 83, which is 600,000, the 85, which is 750,000, and your tier bonus is 1,850,000. For the tier 5 stuff, you can do the 61s or 131,000 or 130,000 rather. 63s are 190,000, 65s are 280,000, and the tier bonus is 400,000. And then down to the tier 4 with its 1 lonely little target of the 45, you get 40,000 points and then a 20,000 tier bonus. So, and then you got your Blitz tier 6s, the 89 is 800,000, and the 69 is 125,000. Keep in mind, hitting targets that are below your recommended level will result in fewer points. This does not affect the completion bonus. Personally, I would have liked to see with the inability to prep the S targets this time, since they're in your campaign and there's no co-op, I would have kind of liked to have seen them get rid of the hit down modifier, at least for this particular raid, with people not being able to prep. But hopefully, if they do that in the future, they will take this in consideration. I pointed it out to GDA in a conversation I had with him, and he said he would keep it in mind. We got some info from our friend Rue over at TSC, and as the slide says, if this doesn't work for you, go shoot her, not me. I'm just passing along the info. And she said she was doing some testing on the 60s, and with her Harlock Tide Seeker fleet, with some Calamities and Garwoods, and General Tech, she was, and also with the Hell Race without the Phantom, she was able to do the 60 targets for very reasonable damage, in her opinion. You want to make sure that your Bloodthirst is up on your Tides and before tackling your Gluts, and you want to make sure that your subs are out of the way of the Glut mortars when they surface. You can also save damage to the Tide Seekers by bringing in subs to finish off the Gluts. Stay out of the pea puddles. That's your big thing. Stay out of the pea puddles. People call them corrosive clouds. I like to call them pea puddles because that's what they kind of look like. So thank you, Rue, for that information. I'm sure a lot of people will find this useful. And as I said, if you don't find it useful, take it to her. Not my problem. And then you also have the campaigns that you can take your assault fleets in, you know, your Phoenixes or your Skyfires. They have the regular Cinderstorm, which will be 2,000 event points, and you can do the Cinderstorm Elite, which is 10,000 event points. I personally haven't looked at either one of these targets yet, so I don't know if Apollos will work in the regular Cinderstorm or not. I see Laredo's over there in chat. Maybe he can confirm whether Tides or Apollos will work in that or not. Uranium, pretty much the same as always. For your actual points, you get crap payouts, but they do have the Zoes out there that you can hit for a fair amount of uranium, and that can keep you topped off. I know Toxic loves going out and hitting those Zoes. I think that's what he did for most of the last raid.
That's it. It was awesome. I'm loving it.
Getting to the prizes. Apex Hunter. Let's talk about this a little bit.
Okay, the Apex Hunter. This is actually just the same thing as the Highlander was to the Tide Seeker. With this new hull here, it's really going to make your Hunter fleet work. Those that are struggling with the what they're seeing on the Hunter, this will change the whole fleet. So what we have here, it is a skirmisher class. It has 110,000 armor points, so it's pretty high. For concussive reload, 75%. Now it does have a 20% splash bonus, and it has 175% concussive damage bonus. Is anti-mortar range 50%. It does come with evade 20%. Explosive defense is the high part on this one here. It's 70% explosive and concussive, so that's pretty high. Combat speed's 25. Now the Apex Hunter does have sonar range of 64, so it does have sonar too. So
let me just backtrack here one quick second. The one thing you kind of skipped over on the one side of the stats was the unreactive 0 seconds. I really like that they started putting that in blueprints, because that unreactive 0 seconds pretty much tells you that you will not get stacks built up of anything on this thing. As soon as the stack hits it, it falls off right away. Okay.
Yeah, I did jump over that, but that's the new thing that they've started to include, I guess. So that's going to be good.
And also, Robert Cope in chat just said that regular Cinderstorm can be done with the Apollo fleet that they sold for $5 before. So that's good to know.
Very good.
Okay.
Very good. Well, this has a same weapon armor special slots. It's got 8 weapons, 4 armor, 6 special. Now this has a duplicate aura cap 5, so the effects from this hull will affect all the ships and all the others in the fleet. So it will add, let's see, concussive defense 30. Well, explosive defense 30 and splash damage reduction of plus 40%, with also added bonus of ship deflection at 200. Now, for the duplicate aura cap, it also does a healing effect. So it's going to transfer armor at 750 armor points every second, I guess it says. So that's going to be something if you could keep this behind the others. I haven't looked at well, I don't have this built yet, so I don't know the repair time on this hull. But like the Skyfire lead, it repairs much faster than the others, so that might take a look at that also.
Yeah, this one has a 3-hour repair modifier, and I believe the Gutsville Skyfire was 2 hours, so it's not quite as repair efficient, but still, it's still definitely an awesome hull. And if you're going to run hunters, you definitely want to have this.
Yeah, this here will actually make a fleet of hunters. I'm not so impressed with the hunters by themselves, actually, but I think if you added this to it, you would have a nice fleet.
One of the other big prizes that we got is the Phantom Fangtooth. Let's go over it.
Okay, now that's the it complements the normal Fangtooth, of course, and it has an inbuilt concussive range and torpedo damage, which is 150%, which is pretty cool, pretty good. Being a sub, it does have a 2.5 hour repair time. It's got 4 armor slots, 6 special slots, as they all do, and you can put 10 of the new torpedoes on the Fangtooth. The other thing which is good with this ship is that it's got a bonus effect which complements all the fangtooth or teethuses in your fleet, and that's you get a combat speed boost, a projectile speed, and a turn speed boost, which comes in really handy when you have to turn around to avoid those angry subs, whatever they're called.
Yeah, the ones that go into berserk mode and chase you down like there's no tomorrow.
Yeah. No, the sonar range on this is only 32. So if you do want to spot the angry Oscar, you want to there you go, and I've named it just then, angry Oscar. You want to put a something there to boost your sonar range on it, on just one of the fangtooth in your fleet. And yeah, that's it. It's also unreactive, 0 seconds, so you won't build up a stack. And it's not quite up as high as what the Hunter is in the explosive and the concussive defense. It's got 60 and 65, but for a sub, it's pretty good. They do last quite a bit in the targets. They don't damage very easily, even if you get hit by a couple of torpedoes. And the only problem is if you do get hit, and you go back to dock, you have to fully repair them. So unless they're fully dead, I wouldn't go and dock them.
Yeah, I know. I personally have the Phantom Fangtooth built already, and I'm running it with 3 regular Fangtooths, and I've been extremely happy with the way they've been doing this raid so far.
Yes, I've only got 2, and same here. I'm very happy with the 3 that I've got all up.
Vikes, why don't you go over the Zelos CTX?
All right, the Zelos CTX. Well, to me, this whole really kind of sticks it to the APX Hunter in a couple ways, and because this here has a sonar range of 90 and a thermal range of 80.
Yeah, isn't that crazy that the only boat that has any kind of thermal at this point is the Generalist? Kind of odd.
Exactly. It's a whole. I mean, but they messed everybody over by making it a 5.5 hull and not a 6. So we can't take it into the S sets. I mean the specials on here for the flagship effect are quite nice. An extra 150% concussive damage for everything, and 50% concussive and explosive defense for every ship. And the ship deflection. The Zealous already have the highest ship deflection available, and it's given it another 200 on top of that.
Yeah, that
makes it quite nice.
Yeah, that's huge. That's huge.
And as its built-in countermeasures and special abilities have given another 5% accuracy and another 5% splash, and a range of 50 on this special ability to all the friendly ships.
I guess really the only downside to this boat is I don't know of anybody who's using Zeloses to do this raid format.
That is true. I do not either.
Do either you other 2 guys know of anybody using Zeloses to do it?
No, I don't.
No,
I don't know why you would, because you can't do anything with it. You can build it, and then what?
Yeah, I mean, I would almost think that any target that this would be able to hit with Zeloses, Tide Seekers are probably going to be able to do it just as effectively, and you probably already have them built.
That I believe that's correct. But it's a great looking hull, but it's using it for the thermal. I mean, that's what people use it for, though.
Yeah, that would be the only upside to the thermal, and the Tide Seekers also have thermal. So, but I mean, that's the information you can. So you now know what the hull is all about, what it does, and if you choose that's the route that you want to go, at least you have some information on what it does.
Yeah, great flagship effects, great abilities.
Courage.
Okay, the Courage. Now, the first thing I need to mention here is that the limit has been increased to 5. So you can have 5 of these little buggers now, and cause havoc and destruction.
One thing I would like to put in here too, just real quick from my own personal perspective, is for all those people who did all their crying about, oh, the Courage is in bounty, we're not going to get it for 3 months for the regular PvE guys, but till 3 months down the road. Well, obviously you had no idea what you were talking about, because 1 month later, here it is in PvE format. Good job, Kicks. Way to not make that gap between the haves and the has-not way too big. I think that was also wise to limit it to until it became available to everybody, because that helped kind of decrease that gap a little bit as well.
Yeah, but I think it came out too early. It should have been just in the bounty here for less and not put back in the raid. I still think it should have waited one more raid for it to come out.
No, I personally totally disagree, because that just makes the gap, for any amount of time you delay it, that makes the gap that much bigger. I think the 1 month thing is a great thing. Everybody who's got them has had them for a month. They've been able to play with them. And the guys who didn't have them yet are still going to have to go through building them, ranking them, and all that kind of stuff. So it's going to be another month or two before theirs are even effective yet.
Well, yeah, I think they were pretty cheap in the bounty. All you had to do was log in, and you were golden to get it.
No, I wish, on that note, I wish they would have increased the limit during the bounty. I was stuck with extra points in the bounty, but I already have 2 courage, and I could have spent my unused points.
Very true. Very true.
All right, Toxic, we interrupted you on the blueprint. That was my fault. Sorry, go ahead.
That's fine. Not a problem.
Okay.
Not a problem at all. It's a defender. So once you've got your new U-Butte, now I've lost the word for it. Conquest hull built, Conquest yard built. Then you can probably build that there and get it all going. It's got a radioactive deflection of 66,000, so that's pretty high. The penetrative deflection is also pretty, almost half that. The repair duration is 3 hours, and it's got a thermal imaging range of 100, so you can put it somewhere, and subs won't be able to get by if you place it correctly. On the other hand, the evade bonus is minus 160, so it wouldn't be any good to even trying to do something with that, because I wouldn't think it's going to matter much. What else? It's got a projectile speed of 500, and I'll tell you the honest truth, I don't know what that means, whether it's 500% or if it's the speed of the projectile, or I don't know. I'm not 100% sure. It's got a huge splash, and it's also hit submerged, so that's another good thing for the subs, which you've got the thermal imaging range for there. And it can't be used for remote targeting, so you can't do that with it. What else is there? It doesn't go anywhere. It can turn, but it doesn't go anywhere. Bit like the Walnut, I think it is. It's the Walnut or the Valiant? Yeah, the Valiant. Yeah. Yeah,
the Valiant doesn't move, and it's got that cool death explosion thing, just like the old Retributions used to have. And when you die, boom, you're gonna take some damage if you're in that range.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, I didn't say that upon death. Yeah, no, this is when you get shot. Yeah.
I personally, I have 2 of these in my base. I love them. I absolutely love them. Their big weakness currently is the Sloth, because they have no explosive deflection whatsoever. But if you surround them with a fair amount of countermeasures, it kind of helps a little bit. You're probably still going to get splashed out, to be honest, because for some reason we can't put war plating on defender hulls. The one armor that would have been the greatest thing in the world to be able to put on your defender hulls, you can't put. So you can't get.
But this still is this truly is the hull to get in the event if you're able to get it and you don't have it. Well, and because this is, I would say it's probably the top base defending hull right currently out there.
Yeah, it's really funny
in my opinion. I mean, you can't use it by itself, naturally, but I say it's one of the best.
It's really funny because if you're still getting hit by rages have a huge problem with these things. They pretty much have to we're just going to ignore you and go right by you because we can't kill you.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, or glass. I mean, because the thermal and the submerged damage, they don't get by that really easy either.
Yeah, no, I'm not 100% sure. I mean, guess it's a good thing that they've increased it to 5, but I don't know why you would need 5. You wouldn't have 5 of them in a base. Maybe just swap out if your base gets hit, you can have another guard with another 2 in it.
Oh, yeah, I agree that right now you definitely wouldn't want 5 in your base, but who knows next week? What the flavor of the month will be next week, and you'll be like, yeah, 5 courages are great. So you never know.
Yeah, very true.
And if you use 2, let's just say if you use 2 in your base, you might want to pick up an extra one. Things change in this game, we all know. So you could refit and keep 2 in your guard. That's always an idea too.
Absolutely. Okay, here we got the regular initial prize tier list. You got your advanced torpedo tubes for 8 million. You got your delirium torpedoes for 12 million, and your regular fang tubes for 20 million. And then also down for the lower guys, you got the Hell Wraith for 2 million points, Fire Twister torpedoes for 1 million, and Sealed Fire Charge for 400,000. Sealed Fire Charge is such a good special. Even on my fang tubes, I have Sealed Fire Charge.
Yep.
Over on the other side, on the right-hand side, you got the PBX payload, you got the Houndtooth depth charges, you got the Hunter MK1, and those are respectively 6 million, 9 million, and 15 million. And then you got your Tide Seekers, your Garwood Gatling guns, and your advanced concussive payload. Which, again, I think the advanced concussive payload is a good special, too. I'm not real happy with the 2-day build time that it has, but I actually have this special on my Hunters. So just because they're old specials does not necessarily mean that they're bad specials. So if you had a chance to pick these 2 up for sure, I would if you don't already have them.
And it's a very reasonable price, too.
Yeah.
And what Kix did here with the if you already had the prizes, then there was no door that you had to open. There was no gate that you had to break down to get to the locked store. I think that's a very good thing of what they've done. That you can, if you've got the prizes, then you can go straight on through.
Yeah,
that's the way it should be all the time.
I was extremely happy about that. I'm like, man, I'm so happy I don't have to dick with any of this other shit now. I can just go straight to the stuff that I actually want.
Indeed.
Yeah, gotta give kudos to Kix for that.
Hopefully they will keep up with that mindset in the future. Unlock store. We got our regular generic ship build tokens. We got 10 1 hours at 140K each. We got 4 12 hours at 1,850,000. And then you got 3 1 days at 3.5 million. And then you got the Zelo CTX Prime for 5 million, Apex Hunter for 40 million, Courage for 4 million, and the Insurrection Launcher for 4 million. Always, if you can, get your generic ship build tokens. That's probably my personal opinion, one of the most useful prizes that they have in every single raid. I, of course, would always like to see more than what they give us, but beggars can't be choosers.
Yep, for sure. I'll totally agree on that because I've built a lot of my my Zeloses with these tokens, and I can now do the FM for no repair at all. Or should I say under 5 minutes, instant repair. So if you only can take those tokens.
Also in the unlock store, we got the Fission Fuel Node, the special for the Courage for 2 million points. 5 things of missile charged armors for 3 million a pop, and 5 of explosive charged armors for 3 million a pop. Charged armors at 3 million points, definitely good stuff. If you're not fully stocked up on those, grab them while you can. Harlock Tide Seeker for 4 million points. The Phantom Hell Wraith for 4 million points, which ironically enough, I still don't have the Phantom Hell Wraith. So depending on where I sit at the end of this raid, I might go back and pick it up just for the hell of it. You got the Zithium D5 Slow Armor for 3 million points. You can get 5 of those. I personally, has anybody ever used these on anything? I know I haven't.
I tried it and I took it off.
Yeah, no, I never used it.
So me personally, I would say pass on that. But you might be able to think of some kind of use for it. And if you can, grab them. And Gale 3s. Everybody likes their Gale 3s. You can get up to 10 of them for 4.5 million points each.
And that's what we need for these nasty gluts, and they've got all these mortars coming down. So you will do well getting as many of those as you can and putting them on your hunters.
Yeah, I know personally on my hunters, I'm alternating. I have one Gale 3 and then one of the, the Hailstorm Ds, just because of the different firing rates. That way one of them is constantly firing.
Okay. Also,
hydraulic resistors. You can get 2 million points apiece, and you can get up to 5 of them. 2 million points apiece is actually pretty good on that, in my personal opinion. The countermeasure turrets that were available before, they're back again and for 4 million points apiece this time. And you can redeem up to 5 of them. But if you already have 5, I'm 99% sure that doesn't increase your capacity. You can still only have 5. You got your Tideseeker 1-day tokens for 1,750,000. You can get 10 of those. You got your Hellwraith 1-day build tokens. You got 10 of those at the same cost. You got one of my favorites, the Hunter MK1 1-day build tokens. You can get up to 10 of them for 4 million points. So yes, it's 40 million points for all of them, but it's going to knock 10 days off one of your Hunter builds. And my other big favorite one, which ironically enough, we have the wrong picture there for the structure build token, but you can get up to 10 48-hour structure build tokens for 5 million points apiece. So that's you're talking like 20 days worth of build time off your 42-day Conquest shipyard right there. So that's pretty big. And I also want to thank Andrew for supplying me with some of these images that I used for the slides today. It definitely cut down on my workload, and I definitely appreciate that. Lock store, you can get all the shards that we can normally get. I'm not really going to spend any time going over that. It's pretty much the same as it always is.
Okay.
Kata shards, you can get those. Phantom Fangtooth shards. This one made me happy. You can claim up to 10 of them to get the Fangtooth that way. But more importantly, if you went partway through the campaign where you got these shards, and you couldn't get all of the shards, now instead of having to get 40 million to claim the whole thing all at one time, you can claim your 2 or 3 missing shards and complete it out for way less points. So that was a huge good thing that they did there, and I will give them kudos for that.
Yeah, and I didn't even think I really didn't see it coming. I thought that they'd be shafted for sure, and so it's pretty big kudos. Thank you for looking into that. A lot of people tried to get as far as they could, and I wanted them to continue to try, but so this way we know they didn't forget them.
Yeah, I mean, we all get like really down on them sometimes, and not always unnecessarily so for some of the things that they do, but a lot of times we forget to give them props for the things they do correctly, and I definitely want to make sure I give them props for that. And then you can also get more of your concussive charged armor, and they're 8 million points apiece, and you can get up to 10 of them.
Well, that's less than what it was last time in the raid, so they're doing the right thing here as well. Hasn't gone down much, but it's gone down a bit. So that's
right.
another kudos for kicks,
And I think that was it for the slide section of the show. Let's talk about the targets a little bit. The tier 7 stuff, the Fangtooth targets. I know I personally put out a video for it already showing how I do it. You can find that on the Crow's Nest page. I think the Fangtooth one, I don't think is that bad, honestly, myself. I go in, and I usually come out with maybe like 20, 24 minutes damage. It seemed like for a couple hours earlier, it seemed like they had tweaked the damage a little bit, and I was taking double the amount, but the last one I hit, it seemed like it maybe went back down again. So I don't know if they're in there tinkering around or if I just did really horrible driving for like 5 targets in a row. But, whatever, it's back to where it was before now on my end.
That's a superpower only I possess, so don't.
Oh, okay. My mistake. Yeah. My mistake.
Yeah.
Toxic, you wanted to talk a little bit about how you're doing the Hunter campaign with only 1 Hunter.
Yeah. I'm going to see if I can.
I would say, can you actually screen share it? We'll just do a hit live on air.
Hang on, you caught me out there.
I even told
I've got
pre-show.
yeah, but they're still repairing. I have to repair them quickly. That's all. I can, if you can
We are
talk about
experiencing
something else for a
technical
minute.
Please stand by.
Yeah, no, if you, I mean, I was prepared to show you the target, but I wasn't prepared to do the target. I just got to repair my my fang teeth.
So what we can say while he's doing this here is that he did find a workaround to get the set completion bonus for the elites by using the fang tooths in both targets, and then bringing in one hunter and picking off just the gluts that fire the mortars from the ones that are blocked in by the I guess urine field. Yeah, that's the way, you know. There's a couple targets in that hunter elite campaign that are blocked in by that yellow field. Now that means that you're not going to be able to get in there any way with any subs. We've actually tried it. So the way you can prep those out with the one hunter and then complete it with the fang tooth, so you can get that huge bonus. And so that's pretty big good news.
Although it's kind of opposite what you say, because you actually prep it out with the fang tooth and then finish it with the hunters.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, what I've done here, I'm not really sure how far I'd gotten, but I think I've prepped out the first lot of subs, and once I get in there, can you all see the share?
Yeah, I got you.
Yep.
So we all know that this is doomed for failure when people share on
yeah, the best way,
on a live hangout. The
best way to fuck your target up is to say, "Hey, watch this."
Yeah. So normally there is a few subs here. There's one Angry Oscar in there as well. And what I do, I come up here, I activate them, then turn around and drive around this cloud here. I'll drive around this way, and normally when you're here, they're dead. As you're gonna see in a minute, they are very quick to die. It's a lot quicker than what they would be in the Fangtooth campaign. The Fangtooth campaign, they're a lot tougher in there. You'll see that in a minute. Hopefully I don't stuff up too fast and kills my fleet, so that you can see it. Like that just, you know, that just pop away.
That's a lot of damage, right?
Without even, there's Angry Oscar. And he's got me, of course he did, always would. Again, no, got him. So they die really quick, as you can see. Nothing to it, if you know how to drive a little bit better than me, which I'm pretty sure 90% of the community does.
Mike in chat, this is actually the hunter target that we're showing you how to do with only one hunter if you have fangs.
Then I'll get those out. I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure if there's another Angry Oscar that you can't see. But yeah, once you've done that, then the target is basically done, and you can just one hunter will quite easily. I got to get out of this.
Now, apparently, you can also go in and just activate these boats, and when the gluttonies start firing, they do damage to these other subs while they're chasing after you. So you can just go in and out, and in and out, and in and out, and then go in with your one Tide Seeker and kill the target off that way. They're not Tide Seeker, but Hunter. Because as you notice, like some of those back subs, you haven't even hit them yet, and they have damage showing on them.
Yeah. And you would have probably noticed how easy they sink. It's like I said, it's if it hadn't got me there before, you can do these. I've done 2 of them without like repairing it within the 5-minute limit. So there's it can be done. And I normally get this one with the fang tooth, because it's a bit quicker. You'll notice that the hunters are, compared to the fang tooth, they're really slow. And I've tried parking to that gluttony there on the right. I've tried parking there near the pea field, and it doesn't work. I couldn't get a shot on him.
Yeah, there definitely seems to be an issue with shooting and the walls currently. I know sometimes you have to get well past where the end of the wall is before you can start firing. And
Yeah,
Correct.
that is something they're actually aware of, and they're attempting to gather information on it and look into it.
Now, that not only is those gluttonies, that transfers over into any of the subs. If you happen to drive up near a wall and a whole pack of them are chasing you, you will lose targeting ability when they get in a certain range of that wall. So it's a issue with the wall.
Yeah, and like
But it transfers to all ships. So it's something. Be careful of that.
yeah, like I said, it's something they're definitely aware of, and they're attempting to gather information on it right now so they can fix it.
Well, we had this same issue in the campaign.
Right. Yeah, I've been in pretty constant contact with GDA all day, saying this is wrong, that's wrong, this is good, that's bad. You need to look at this, fix this. So
now I've got 2 hunters in there because my other one just completed before, but I'll go ahead, leave one behind, and I'll show it everyone that it can be done with 1. You see how much slower the hunters are, and they have what's it called, hydraulic resistors on them. So if you want faster hunters, then you need to put the Magnus 3 on it. Now this one that goes up and forward, so you can sort of get around it and then go back up. Because if you go too far down, well, this one starts shooting, and you don't want to. You want to stay away from that as far as long as you can. Usually, once they shot once, even if you have to turn around to get away from it, and once they shot once, you can go back towards it, and they won't fire. Because once you get to a certain range, they just don't fire again.
I will also point out that if you're watching this, make sure that if you have the 100, that you go out and do this as soon as possible, because who knows how long it will stay this way.
Because he just showed you.
I mean,
Yeah.
we debated, honestly, we debated on whether to put this on the show or not, but we figured it was kind of our obligation, since we're here to help people. Even if
Well,
we
and
help them for a limited amount of time, we should get the information out there.
well,
And yeah,
and also truly because they said word for word you would be able to hit both targets with the hull, and that's not the case.
And as you can see, there's no damage on that hunter. And if you, like I said, if you drive a little bit better than me, you can get away without damage on the fangtooth fleet. And you can do this target actually cheaper than what you can do the fangtooth target. So that's
And
it.
then, like I said, there's also the option out there where you can activate the subs and run away and retreat from the target and whatnot, and let it get splashed out. But you know, it's either one of those is definitely a good strategy to use. And even with only 100, you can now get your set bonus.
Yeah. So I'll go back and repair my.
Apparently, Rue just joined the chat and she saw my comment about shooting her. Sorry, Rue, I threw you under the bus there. But hey, I gave you a whole slide to yourself, so you got to take the good with the bad.
So yeah, I hope this it helped. It helps a few people. Getting, it's an hour and a half. It's not really that bad. It's an hour and a half damage, but you can get away with less. So it is what it is for 12 million points. Hey, I'm sure. Oh, what have I done now? I've clicked the wrong button.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely, with it shows you that we can still get around that. You don't have to have the entire hunter fleet to be able to do that target, so we can work around their restrictions.
Yeah.
Right.
So overall, what do you guys think of this race? Good, bad, indifferent? I'm liking it, to be honest.
Well, to say the honest truth, there was a lot of negative comments about, you couldn't do you had to have both fleets to do to do well in it. And again, you got to wait until the raid starts to see what happens in the raid. And there is a lot smarter people than me and that can play this game a lot better than me. And that we always find, someone will always find a little way we can get around and do things a little cheaper and better. And you just have to wait. You got to give it a shot. And you can get both targets. If you got 3 fangs and 1 hunter, you can get 12 million points out of those 2 targets, and that's pretty good. That you can't complain about that.
I would say that even without if I don't have the hunter, I'll build the hunter for that. But the points are good. Yeah, in all actuality, you can do this. You can do this with 2 fangs or maybe even less. You can. You can get all the points you're going to need. And I'm having, excuse me, I'm having some lag issues, but I like the damage on the targets. I like the fact that if you drive better, you can do better. I like that. Now the targets are a little large for me, because it makes these grease monkey crews obsolete or worthless for the events. And I used to save those up for the events, and they meant a lot to me. Well, now the targets are just too large to be worth using a grease monkey crew. So that the size of the targets is would be my only complaint, and lag.
Yeah, the targets are a bit large. I mean, it's kind of time consuming. That's my real only complaint about it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't mind the targets being as big as they are. It's just, the time it takes to do them can be very time consuming when you're really trying to not take damage. But
especially when you're trying to have a life away from the game, It's like,
exactly.
Right.
I can well remember the days when you jump on, you pop out your raid in an hour and a half, and you could go on about your BP life or your real life. Then those days are long since gone.
Yeah.
And I'm not
the only thing I just don't like, that got to have both fleets to get the set bonus. You can't just use the fangs for both. You got to have a hunter.
Right, you do.
But if you do, well, you got to do a few. You got to do 10 of the hunter of the fang-tooth one to get enough tokens to build at least 1 hunter, and then you just do the then you do the other side. You do 10 of them, and then you get from 40 million to 120 million points. So it's not it's not impossible, but it's certainly
no. I mean, it's us. We were lied to on what we were going to be able to do. They changed it without telling us.
True that, yeah.
Because we were told one thing and they did another. But that's the only real complaint I have about it. Otherwise, it's driving gets you things free if you know how to drive right.
Well, yeah, I'm going to go into a little bit of that at the very end of the show. I'm going to have my little rant session. We'll get into that more at that point.
Could have you rant the whole thing.
But I do want to. I didn't make any slides for it, but I do want to cover Bounty 2 a little bit and what people thought about that. I'll go first.
Before you, sorry, Damnation. Just before you go on that, just to what Ross said earlier with his grease monkeys. I tend to use my grease monkeys more for the TLCs, so you don't have to be so careful at the TLC. Because the TLCs are always have to be done within an hour. You have to do one round within an hour, or an hour and a, or 2 hours, or whatever it is. So I tend to use my grease monkeys more on the TLCs than I do on the raids these days. Yeah. I just wanted to say that, you know, that there's still a need for them.
Yeah. I still do like using them. I use them on the ranking weekends. You know, I keep one in the dock, and I just bring back the fleet, and I switch over to use that grease monkey, and that helps a huge deal, because that's the heavy coining for me, is the VXP weekend.
Yeah, for sure.
There's an update. Apparently, the CT armor got moved from the lock store to the unlocked store. So there you go. That's even easier for you guys to get now that had to worry about the lock store. So that was definitely a positive thing that they did.
Yes, very nice. Very nice. Like to hear that.
Okay, moving on to the bounty wrap up. For a PvP event, I saw pretty much no freaking PvP whatsoever. Everybody was out hitting those PvE targets, getting their points. And it was interesting because somewhere along the way, a statement got made that you weren't going to get the twin blades unless you were out hitting bases. You wouldn't get them just by hitting other stuff. And that ended up being a total fallacy. Like, just 99s were paying out like 6K for some of them. You weren't going to get that much from any bases.
I never seen 6K out of a 99.
I saw two 99s that paid out 6K.
But I got my bounty hitting bases. I stopped hitting bases when I stopped getting bounty from them. When the bounty wasn't coming, that what was stated would be coming. I got 0 for 400, 0 for 500 bases, 600 bases. You know, I had like 7 or 8 of them I got no bounty for, and they clearly are on the locator, clearly on, and just got nothing.
Did,
so I stopped hitting bases then.
Did anybody get any structure tokens?
I did, yeah.
Absolutely 0.
Yeah, I didn't
9
get any.
chests. I got 6 uraniums and 3 build tokens for conqueror hulls.
Well, I mean, that just feeds back into the whole random chest things, which we have made abundantly clear for raids and campaigns. We're not big fans of those. For the dailies, it's fine because we can do them over and over and over. But for the stuff that you only get one shots at as you're going through, we're not a big fan of that. And hopefully they keep that in mind going forward. They tried it once, and hopefully we made it very vocal that we don't like it, and they think on that. I personally found I ended up with 28,000 bounty myself, and for 3 days of it, I didn't hit anything. I just sat in my little base and collected my grants. There was the one day when I was streaming Walking Dead all day, and I was just going in with the 85s with my gluts and killing 85s while I was watching TV, and that got me my extra 8,000 points. Had I done that on Sunday as well, I probably could have gotten the twin blades, nothing else, mind you, but I probably could have gotten the 2 twin blades with hitting nothing but 85s. So getting that top mark was very achievable without ever hitting a base and not even necessarily having to hit the big targets.
Right.
Yeah,
So,
I got just over 70K and never got hit, and so that was rather interesting. Never got hit, or I never got peaked. Well, I think I got peaked, but I never got hit, and just watched everything. And there wasn't, in where I was at, there wasn't base hitting going on, and not to say there was little, there was none. Everyone that was participating in bounty was truly running from sector to sector looking for the magic targets, hoping there's a magic drop for the big targets, and then just cleaning up the 85s. I ended up doing that myself. I mean, I hit some bases to get going, but then I didn't have any targets ever, truly ever.
Yeah.
So
I know something that Rue had mentioned on TOC, and I think was an excellent idea. But I would have liked to have seen like a comms notification when the big targets came out for like the 99s, because since we didn't really have a set schedule with it, some kind of notification if you're in the game, hey, they're out right now, you should be looking for them, instead of wasting like 5, 6, 7 hours scanning the freaking map and finding jack shit.
Oh yeah, that would have been nice. That would have been a very good plus.
I mean,
But isn't it totally opposite of what it's meant to? It's supposed to be a PvP event.
Absolutely.
I mean,
it's not.
They shouldn't. The bounty should not. I mean, I didn't participate in this one because I participated in the last one and I didn't really enjoy it that much. I should have participated in that one because no one got hit. But hey, hindsight, 20/20 vision, isn't it? But yeah, if you don't need to have crazy billion gazillion points. If you hit a base and you kill the LP and you smash the base, you get 100 bonus or whatever it is. If you don't make it, well then the bloke who you attack gets 100. And that's as simple as that. And then you don't need any economy. You just get the 100 points, and that's it. And then you make a prize that's 2,000 or 3,000 points or whatnot. So when you hit a few bases, which you always will get, there's not going to be anyone that won't pay out. Every base you hit gives you 100 points within a certain level.
Right,
of course, you can't snooze baby seal. That's not right.
And your conquer hull half repair, and make it that simple.
Yeah, half repair and the base repair straight away, bang. But you still get a 2 or 3 hour bubble to get your to repair something or refit something or whatnot. And as simple as that. And a lot of people would participate if they knew that the base is going to repair straight away. You got half repair. You spend a few coins. You don't need a gazillion points, and you can still get something decent. There'll be a lot more people participating than what they are now. That's just my rant.
I would kind of always just like to see it maybe like a constant store that's set up where you can just buy shit with your medals that you get from your normal all the time base hitting. You know what I mean? That doesn't need to be a complicated thing in place. Just make it so you can actually use your regular medals to spend on and buy something. Then you don't have to have like thousands and thousands of points to buy this prize. Like 400 medals, you can buy this. Boom, done, taken care of.
Well, and believe me, you spend medals. I mean, you spend money getting medals. You truly do, and giving them a cause or a purpose would be nice. I mean, other than leaderboard or bragging rights. Yeah.
One of my biggest gripes also about this right now was, and we knew it wasn't going to be instituted for this bounty, so I was kind of okay with it. But I definitely want to see it instituted by next bounty. Is points for defending your base. That totally needs to be put in there because that is just as much a part of PvP as hitting bases is.
Yeah, I don't
medals?
cut them slack.
You lose medals hitting bases, you should lose bounty.
Right. I mean,
yeah, just like
on all honesty, it was to be a base hitting event from the start. So in a base hitting event, there's an attacker and a defender. It was pretty simple. I don't know why that was missed, or it wasn't missed. It was not added, and it just should be there. And I know it's going to be, but I believe it should have been.
But everybody's playing PvE. Everybody's doing their Forsaken missions, and everybody's doing their TLCs. Not many people are hitting bases, and then you can't expect the whole community all of a sudden go for a 4-day base hitting spree. It just doesn't work. You have to slowly feed the base hitting in. And the Conqueror Yard, I think the Conquest Yard, I think is a
Huggies Yard. That's easier.
Huggies Yard. Sorry, Huggies. That's much easier to remember. Yeah, the Huggies Yard is a good first step towards that.
I agree.
The more people can build Conquerors, the more people are going to build them, and they're going to do something. Well, if they're not going to hit any bases, they're not going to build them.
I think this bounty came out at a really bad time, too, because so many people are upgrading stuff right now, and they didn't want to lose that time on their build upgrade because you got to wait for it to repair. and that adds time onto it. And I think timing wise was just really bad for this particular bounty. I think too.
Well, as I'm one of those, I started mine, and for the start, I said with my officers and everything, it was 37.5 days to start it.
I wonder, here's something I do wonder, though. If people realized how little hitting was going to go on in this bounty, I wonder how many more people would have opted in.
No, I think they would have. Right. I mean,
oh, yeah.
They would have.
I was still telling my guy, I was still telling my guys to jump in no matter what. I mean, just jump in.
Day two of that bounty, I was telling everybody, I'm like, dude, nobody's freaking hitting anybody. I'm like, get in. And some people were stubborn, toxic. They were like, no, they're going to do it. As soon as I had entered, somebody would hit me. There was like literally hardly any hitting going on.
Especially come the second day.
I built the Huggies yard. I spent a lot of tokens on the Huggies yard. So I wasn't going to give those tokens that I spent on it away in waiting for it to repair, you know. So I wasn't willing to jump in. So you don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, the only thing with that though is as long as you're on as an instant repair, you would just lose that time for while you were sleeping if it got hit. Yeah,
but see, living on the upside down side of the world, I could get hit before I go to work, and then there'd be 13 hours, 14 hours that I won't even be able to press a button. So.
Well, I told you before, you have your priorities backwards, and you need to move to the
backwards and upside down.
I think we covered most of that stuff though. So if the news and all that kind of stuff and tips and tricks was what you were here for, you probably should stop watching now, because I'm going to go into my rant session. Which I will be honest, my rant session is not going to be as bad as what it originally was. Because I was going to go off on a huge tirade about the, for lack of a better term, fuck-uppery of having to have both fleets to fully participate in this raid. But now that we have found kind of a way around that, for this particular one, I'm a little bit calmed down. However, it's something they really, really need to take in consideration going forward in the future. You know, we've been, for a year now, we've been trained to, this is a skill fleet, this is the auto fleet. You don't have to have both. You just build the one that goes to your play style, and you can succeed with that. But now, suddenly, they've changed it to where you have to have both to complete and compete in the raids at the level that we all want to. But they never communicated it, ever. I mean, you know, one of the big things that we've been saying all this time is communication, communication, communication. And you did so good there for a while, and then lately you just dropped the ball in such a big fashion on that. And it's something that if you're going to do that, transfer over, you need to communicate that to us. Because a lot of people, myself included, I would have been like, well, maybe I won't spend more coin necessarily, but maybe I'll just go with 2 hunters and a flag, and then get a couple, go with the Phantom and 2 Fangtooths, and then try to get like 2 or 3 hunters out. You know, there were so many ways that this could have been handled so much better. And I think that shafting, in my opinion, all the people who aren't the whales and get, you know, have 2 fully fleets of both is just a bad way to go. And it's horrible. And you need to really rethink that whole thing. And if you're going to keep it the way you have, at least give us outs like we discovered with this particular target.
Yeah, it's always better to... Sorry, you go, mate.
I mean, the build times need to just drop in half then. If they want both hulls, they got to drop our build times in half. Period.
Yeah, I mean, you know, some people are saying, some people are saying, oh, well, we have a second shipyard now in the Conquest yard, so it's not as bad. What the fuck does a PvP shipyard have to do when you got to build 2 80 to 100 day fleets? You know, nothing. Nothing.
Exactly.
You know, and even if you want to go down the have both fleets routes, at least wait till the second raid of the fucking cycle to do it. Don't do it in the first one. You're going to have, like, you know, you're probably going to have like 100 people in the game that have both fleets done and ready and are going to be able to take any kind of advantage of that.
If they want to do that, and I hope I don't get crucified for this, but have one fleet for 1 month, have the second fleet for the second month, and then the third month you should have both or part of both. So I don't know, maybe that just sort of popped in my head.
I'm
sorry. The two fleet part. I mean, I really will only build one. I'll take the hit. I'll take the consequences. I mean, I like base hitting. I was really into pushing bounty. Bounty, I can tell you, it's a flop. It's a flop and of epic proportion. So, and at many levels, I mean, the whole Axiom turret so the whole thing that didn't work. But what's good, what keeps me in this game from this point on is less and less every day. And so I just want that heard also, that I enjoy this game. I've been here a long time, will be. I plan on being, but the fun for me, because I enjoy the PvP side, and I really don't like fighting the computer animated things. I like someone calling me names or calling me in the comms and the whole bit, the messages. That's why I'm here. So if there's more of me out there playing this game, please take a look at the total build time. You know, it takes base hitting away for good if we have to build two fleets for each monthly event.
My last thing I'm going to go into too, and then we're going to call it a night, is the whole, you know, they put out that blurb a day or two ahead of time that, like, okay, we're going to split it up into 2 targets and you're going to get a 2 million point bonus if you complete both. There was a vast uproar. Everybody was pissed off about that. And their response was to double down and then make that bonus 4 million points. What the hell are you thinking, dude? I mean, you know, it's already bad enough that you got everybody mad at you, and then you want to double down and make them twice as pissed off at you. I mean, you know, and I know they say they have studied not only design and development, but psychology as well. Well, apparently you failed the psychology part, buddy. That's my personal opinion. But yeah, that floored me when I saw that they doubled down. I was just like, what are you doing? What are you thinking? That is like a slap in the freaking face.
It is, I agree. But on the other hand, I like playing this game, and I'll play it every weekend, and I'll play it during the week when I have time for after work. But I don't take it as seriously as some of you guys probably do. And if I wasn't going to get a certain thing out of this raid, it wouldn't bother me. And if I wouldn't have gotten the turret, it wouldn't have bothered me. And if someone comes and breaks my base, I'll click repair, and I'll you know, I'll still have just as much fun. I mean, it's always more fun if you can break the guy who comes and hits your base. But if I don't get something, if I don't get I don't know, all the tokens, which I always go for first, well, I'll get as many as I can. I'll go prioritize. I go, do I need the hunter token, or do I need the tide seeker token? Well, tide seekers can stay there, but I need the hunter. So I always get what I want, what I need first, and whatever I can't get, bad luck. And it's not my loss; it's Kix's loss. That's how I see it.
I know the one big problem we're going to run into is, I know for sure that they use metrics as to gauge whether something was successful or not. And with now finding this trick to be able to complete that hunter target, they're going to see, oh, well, lots of people did both targets, so this is a success. So we're going to do this going forward. And so hopefully we're not going to exacerbate the problem by being smart enough to find a way around it.
Well, let's hope Kix isn't a bad sport and fixes it straight away. I mean,
well, I mean, they won't fix that. It's just you're using your hunter and using your fangs, which they said we should be able to use in the first place. So it's fair play.
I don't think it definitely won't be fixed this raid, but it wouldn't surprise me if next raid we can't get away with doing it. You know, just
But
like in the last raid, how we found out how you could go inside that base and snipe all the drones out from the inside. Well, they left it alone for that raid, but boy, that next raid they had that bar in there where you couldn't go inside anymore.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I do have to say though that the event is not as bad as I had planned on or went to bed last night thinking I'd wake up to today, you know, and log into this nightmare that couldn't be done. And that's not the case. So that's a great thing for the community. And I really do think that's, thank you to that, you know, even the older hulls can hit these 60s. You know, they can. I don't know about how well, but
yeah, I definitely agree with a little time, a little patience, and going out and watching a video or two. This raid is definitely doable, and kudos for making the targets good for what they were meant for.
Yeah,
right. Second that. All of you second that. Yes, it was well done. It's not. You pay for it if you make a mistake. If you're a clown driver like me, you have to pay a little bit more. But if you're a decent sub driver, then you'll do well in this raid.
And I think we're going to wrap it up right there and end on a positive note, because I always like to try to end on a positive note if possible. So thanks everybody for coming out and watching. I appreciate your participation in the chat. But make sure if you found this useful, hit the like button and share it with your other groups that we don't have access to. And we will have an after show, and I will put that link in the chat here momentarily. So thank you very much, guys. Appreciate it. Laters.
Later. See you later.